Watch who's doing the will of the Father, and you will be protected. Watch who's doing the will of the Father, watch this, and claim them as your brothers and sisters in Christ. Watch who's doing the will, who's bringing the will of God to pass in their actions. Watch, because a tree is known by the fruit that it bears. Watch those who have committed themselves in a disciplined way to bringing forth the will of God in the earth. First of all, who know the will of God, and then who have committed themselves to bringing it to pass in the earth. Those are your brothers and sisters. Everybody else, they're here. They're here. But you better keep that eye on them. More importantly, make sure you got that eye on yourself as one who is committed to doing the will yourself. You got to be found doing the will of God and not your own will in this new year. How does that happen? I've got to find my purpose. I've got to declare my purpose, and I've got to start doing my purpose. And when those things come to pass, my life and everybody's life around me begins to change. Lift your hands and don't be condemned or embarrassed, because I'm not taking a poll. I just want to see how many of you know what you've been called to do. Hands down. How many of you do not know what you've been called to do? No condemnation. Just lift your hands. I don't know. Okay. Because it's going to help me going forward. That means we got to have another prophetic conference. Not necessarily a conference, but we have to have another prophetic time where we can bring the prophets in. I'll bring in several different prophets. I'll have them prophesy to you again. And once we get it on tape, don't you dare say ever again in your life that you don't know what you've been called to do. Because at that point, you got to own this message. You got to own this message. I know what it is that God has said. He said it out of the mouth of several different prophets. I've got it on tape, and I'm committed now to becoming or releasing this purpose in the earth. That's when your life is going to start. Until then, you're just working. You're doing something. And you're finding some measure of fulfillment in it. But I can promise you this. You haven't even tasted life yet until you get into the crucible called assignment. You don't even know or understand life really until you understand your assignment. And so you got to commit. This year, you cannot spend this entire year not knowing what it is that you were put in the earth to do, because it'll just be one more year of you expending energy, doing something, and it's legitimate. You're doing something, and you've settled for what you are exchanging for your time, even though that time is not your talent.